Does it seem like you're doing one thing at a time and it just isn't enough anymore? Multitasking isn't appropriate for every situation, but to save time, multitasking has to be done with care and attention. And more often than not, there's always a very thin and ever-fading line between multitasking and overworking. But here are some few effective tips that can help you optimize your working life and productivity without tripping your breakdown button. The first thing you have to do is to establish your goals. The old saying says, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. It is just as true even when you're following multiple tasks. Another important thing for you to do is to evaluate whether multitasking is appropriate for the goal and task you must do. In your honest assessment, is multitasking really necessary for what you're about to do? And is it going to help you get more work done? Or is it just going to result in you doing multiple things slowly or badly? Now, after this, you have to set aside time to give more intense and complex tasks your full focus. Let it be known that you prefer to have time to yourself for an hour or two each day, and use that time for intense tasks that requires your full concentration. Now, choose tasks which are routine, familiar, or that you're fluent to multitask. Do not expect to have the full focus required to learn a new activity or perform a difficult or complex task. Plan ahead. You can't schedule every interruption or predict how many times the phone will ring in an afternoon, but you may be able to select your tasks and have in mind a general sequence of events to complete them, but avoid needless repetition and redundancy. Work ahead. If you know there's going to be a big rush in the afternoon, start early to set up and prepare. If you've ever seen restaurant staff wrapping flatware in napkins at 3 p.m., then you have seen a good example of working ahead in action. Allow extra time. Now, if you anticipate frequent interruptions, factor that in when you plan for how long everything else is going to take. Work on one thing at a time, but alternate. Jugglers may have many objects in the air, but they usually manipulate one at a time. Eliminate unnecessary tasks. If you're multitasking to be more efficient, don't spend time doing extra things. The exception is a background activity to help pass the time if a primary task is dull, mechanical, or routine. For instance, if listening to the radio or an audiobook helps with the tedium of painting a wall, go for it. Simplify tasks you can eliminate, especially if they are routine tasks. Try to perform them only in as much detail as they require. This doesn't mean that you should turn out substandard work, but instead look for inefficiencies and improve what you can. Choose compatible tasks. For instance, you may find that reading and listening to speech both use the same type of focus. Instead, try pairing a physical task such as ironing clothes with a mental task such as listening to the radio. Choose tasks which are easy to interrupt, especially if the multitasking consists of dealing with frequent interruptions such as a ringing phone. Choose tasks that can be easily paused to do concurrently. Keep a selection of smaller projects or simpler tasks around to fill in gaps in a larger project. That is, do the larger project as a priority, but do basic filer tasks anytime you find yourself waiting for information or inspiration on a larger project. Work at a pace you can sustain. Take breaks when you need them, especially to balance rushes. Multitasking may require intense focus and may not be an activity you can sustain indefinitely. And most importantly, know when to stop. Your body efficiency is equal to your mental productivity, so do not overwork your buttons.